Two men who both worked for Trump. Ken Cuccinelli served as Deputy Homeland Security Secretary, and Mr. Miles Taylor, who was the DHS Chief of Staff. Good to have you both. Of course, the right move here is make a deal. Get TSA paid. Have the people who are trained to do the job do the job. But short of that, Miles, is this what your temporary fix would be? And if not, why?
I just have one word for it, Chris. It's just silly. I mean, Ken knows this too. By the time, hopefully by the time, any sort of deal is reached, ICE agents aren't going to have been trained to operate TSA equipment. I mean, heck, we put these folks through a lot of training when they go join TSA. We're not going to expect these officers to go learn on the job how to operate explosive detection equipment. This is pure theater, and people that I know inside the administration have admitted as much. The president cooked it up on social media. There wasn't a lot of forethought, and you're seeing that on social media. You're seeing people document these agents not really sure what they're doing in the airports. It's a waste of time. The president should be focusing his time on doing exactly what you said, Chris, getting a deal, getting these darn airports back open. No one cares voting Democrat or Republican how this thing gets open. Just get it open again, and there is trade space for a deal. It's called complying with the Constitution.
So, Ken, I want to hear your thoughts, obviously, on why this move works. But I do want to ask you about one thing first. Then you take it anywhere you want to take it. I saw this scene of ICE grabbing somebody in an airport, a woman with her kid. But here's what bothered me about it. So they're filming it, and they're saying, who are you? Who are you? Show us ID. Every cop I've ever encountered in every agency, unless we're part of a covert operation, they identify themselves, and they have their identity on them, not the ICE guys. Why? Why shouldn't they do what everybody else does?
Well, you know very well. We've talked about it before, Chris. These folks aren't just law enforcement agents. They are targets of domestic terrorism right now, and so are their families. So, you know, the effort to dox agents is still ongoing. That has not gone away since we talked about it earlier this year. It may not be Minneapolis focused. It's all over the country.
But
and
there is no legal authority.
The video you're talking about.
But Ken, there's no legal authority to ignore the constitutional need for people to be informed of who is stopping them and on what grounds, just because people are being nasty to members of ICE. It doesn't mean you don't have to identify yourself. That's not a thing in the law.
The person being apprehended has that right. Everybody else watching doesn't have that right. That doesn't mean they have to do it standing there in front of everyone else. And the video you're talking about was sent around social media and sold as picking up U.S. citizens. In fact, they're picking up people who had removal orders from 2019. 7 years they've been dodging those removal orders. And they happen to be picked up in an airport, which is a bonus of ICE being there, frankly.
I'm not questioning the basis. Look, I got to believe that an airport is not going to be a great place for them to catch people without documentation.
And I'm not questioning that they have to identify themselves. They do not have to identify themselves to a crowd. They have to identify themselves to a defendant or the person being picked up, but they don't have to do it right there other than to identify their agency at a point where they can be doxxed by other people. They have the right to protect themselves, and now, sadly, that also means protecting their identity, at least until they're in a private space, typically a custodial space with that person. So, and I want to disagree with Miles. It is.
Yeah, go ahead. I want you to disagree with it, but just for the audience's approval, the incidences of doxing are real. They are contemptible, in my opinion. They are far fewer than what we've seen of ICE agents doing things that we shouldn't have them doing. So the doxing, you're making it sound like it's happened to every one of them all the time. It's not. It's certainly, on balance, not as important as having them do what they do.
Because the reason it's not happening to them all the time is because they are taking steps to protect themselves and their families. And if they didn't take those steps, the number of follow-on dox incidents and attacks on families would be enormous. Well, I'm not willing to risk their families, and I'm sorry to hear that you are. So I think they're doing it the right way, and I think they should keep doing it that way.
Ken, give me a break. give me a break, okay? I would think that you would bet your. I think that you would bet your generous hair that I don't want to see families getting doxxed and see risk of ICE people. I think you know that that's about as absurd as anything else that could be said. Take the conversation in a productive direction towards why. Let's go to why they're there and why that's okay. Go ahead.
Wait a minute here, Chris. Let's drill down on this. So I don't believe for a minute you want anybody hurt. I don't want anybody hurt. But we have clearly stated positions. You're willing to take more risk that doxing will happen than I am. And that is a difference. We can agree to disagree on it, but I err on the side of agent safety and the safety of their families.
And I err on the side of the constitutionality of Fifth Amendment rights and cops doing the job the right way, so you stop ruining the reputation of all these men and women, first responders all over this country that have to carry the burden of this brute force going out and doing stupid things on a regular basis.
Americans are smarter than that. Americans are smarter than that. They know that there aren't other
I got to push back on that. I got to push back on that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Miles.
Masks,
you can take my job.
Masks that ICE are wearing are directly showing. The masks are directly showing up in the polls, Ken, as diminishing Americans' confidence across the board when it comes to law enforcement. That is bad for public safety. We don't want people to distrust a local cop or an FBI agent or an ICE officer. We want them to trust law enforcement to go to them with their crimes, but the surveys are showing... Ken, let me finish. The surveys are showing across the board that confidence in law enforcement is going down. That makes the country vastly less safe, my friend. And you know what? I know brave NYPD officers and FBI agents, people who don't wear masks and get doxxed anyway, and they do it because they, too, believe in the Constitution.
And they are taking that risk themselves. We're not deciding it for them. And the fact of the matter is the polling statistics you cite are nothing more than appearance. The local police officer you're referring to who isn't wearing a mask isn't subject to that perspective by their local community. And so
look,
these agents are taking steps they need to protect themselves. And it doesn't help that they're now being used to be deployed to do other DHS jobs. And by the way, that is not unusual. DHS agents and officers have forever co-deployed to support other agencies, including funded agents supporting unfunded agents.
That's not the right, but that's not the issue here.
These ICE agents aren't doing the scanning. They aren't doing the specific searching. They're doing backup.
Those are the jobs that we need. I know, but those are the jobs we need, which is why you see them walking around not doing that much. I don't blame the ICE men and women. I'm not saying they're lazy. I'm saying that this was the president sending a message. And look, the wording told us everything, Ken. If you don't give me a deal, I'm sending in ICE. Now, to the reasonable person, why is that supposed to be menacing? Well, because that's the whole problem with how you guys are using these people, is if you don't give me a deal, I'm sending in ICE. Well, why didn't he just send them in anyway? If it's not supposed to be a provocation, something you should be worried about, well, why even suggest it that way? Why not just send in the National Guard and give the governors a little bit of say in this and a little ownership of the situation? Or, God forbid, make a deal and get it back open as the alleged great deal maker.
Look, the John Fetterman statements have been right on the money on this stuff. His party is holding these people hostage to get at ICE. They're holding the wrong hostage. ICE, as you pointed out, is funded. And this is a misdirected, aimed fire by the Democrats. I'm sorry. And it's not going over well. And the place where the American people encounter it the most, as you noted with your own family, Chris, is at the airports. And, you know, if you're the administration and you want the Coast Guard funded too, and you need the Secret Service funded too, it isn't just TSA, then that's a reasonable rationale to do it all together so they can stand together or fall together, because it's more likely to all get funded.
But Ken, the president just said this has to do with the SAVE Act.
But go ahead. Make your act. Make your
I'm sorry,
point.
I didn't understand that.
No, look.
Go ahead.
I mean, that's my point here, Chris, is that there was an opportunity to reopen the government. There are legitimate issues to be negotiated over, and Ken, the President of the United States, just blew up that possibility and fully owned the shutdown by moving the goalpost from the football field into the next door town by saying the only way to open up the DHS again is to pass the SAVE Act. This is like comparing apples and refrigerators, and I don't know how you cut a deal with someone who's doing that.
Yeah, he said, first of all, that the SAVE Act he wants passed, and he's been pushing Thune and everybody else on that. And two, that he didn't want to see anything else until that was passed except DHS funding. So, you know, neither of those have gotten there yet. And the one they seem to be working harder on is the Save America Act. And that's really thanks to, largely to Senator Mike Lee's leadership.
Here's what we can all agree on. Boy, oh boy, do we need Easter to get here. Rebirth and renewal. I have never felt more of a need for it personally and professionally and patriotically than right now. Miles, good to see you. Thank you for making the case. Ken, even though you accused me of wanting to see police officers get hurt, I'm always happy to have you on the show to make the case. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.